Hello and welcome to A Gypsy's Kiss, the vlog. I'm Shelly Carney.
And I'm Toby Unit. Stick with us a couple of seconds and we will tell you why Shelly and I still aren't going to Yellowstone.
Well, thanks for being here with us today at A Gypsy's Kiss, the place to be if you want to have fun while talking about Fenn's treasure. Be sure that you give us a thumbs up to like our video, share it with your social media friends. Okay, I meant to hit a different button. How about this one? There we go. And subscribe. Okay, that's crickets. Crickets does subscribe. Let's see. Oh, subscribe. Subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button and then click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we go live or release a new video. If you do not have a YouTube channel or a Gmail account and you can't subscribe, let us know and we'll help you out with that.
Is there something we can do to help them?
We can teach them how to do a Gmail, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it takes. We'll do whatever it takes to get you to subscribe.
Yeah, good idea.
All right.
You ready?
Apparently, we're not headed for Yellowstone anytime soon, according to the title of today's show.
Yeah.
But first, let's start with housekeeping. We want to give thanks to our moderators. Jimmy Fast, Joel Lewicki, Jason Eunice, Brian Eagle, and Eric Schmidt. Thank you for being in our chat and helping us to keep the world a safer place for all of our people who want to come and talk with us. And for our presentation today, we're going to have a lot of fun. And after that, we're going to have an open Q&A. So that means you get to ask us anything. That's right, anything, anything, anything. So make sure you do that. And at the end of that, Toby has a special giveaway for our subscribers.
We have the fourth to the last coin to give away today, numbered 860. And I have a trivia question, and I'm going to warn you in advance. I've really made this one hard, so but I'm sure there are people that will figure it out. So Brian and Eric are in the house.
All right.
So
that's
you ready?
Awesome. Yes.
All right. So I'm going to start with, if I may. Yes. Thank you. So about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer, Shelly and I got this letter from a viewer. I have asked the viewer's permission. I got this in our email at agypsieskiss@gmail.com. And I asked the viewer, so that started a conversation between Shelly and I. And you can read more about that conversation on our blog, because Shelly's first reaction to what was said in this email is, that's not true. And she said it with such a straight face that it indicated to me that she had a lot of conviction in the matter. And of course, you all know that Shelly does most of the work in the analysis of the book from the statistical and kind of psychological perspective. So I felt like she knew what she was talking about. So let me read the letter and forgive. Like I said, I asked him permission to put the letter here and include it in our blog post. And he asked me to apologize in advance for any of his grammatical punctuation or spelling errors. So, dear Toby and Shelly, I love your guys' work. Thank you for all your hard work. But I don't think you're right with your idea that the treasure is in New Mex, meaning New Mexico. I believe that the treasure is hid in Yellowstone. He said so in his book, where he talks about the time he spent there as a kid. It's what he talks about the most. Just read it. That is why I believe my theory is correct and that it is in Yellowstone. Let's see if you can prove, he said provide, but I'm sure that was autocorrect. Let's see if you can prove that I am wrong. Good luck searching in New Mex, but I have emailed Mr. Forrest and told him about my solve, and I'm going to get it this summer as soon as I can get some vacation. So that's kind of our problem. We need more vacation. It's like cowbell. You can't have You can't have enough cowbell either. You got cowbell? Oh, okay.
Switch over to the other one.
That's okay. That's all right.
Get cowbell.
So anyway, that was the letter. And
I have that.
then we're going to need that. Yeah. So I read the letter out aloud to Shelly. And she said, no, that's not right. And she came, like I said, she came back with an answer so quickly. I was actually kind of surprised. I mean, I have heard throughout the time that, we've been in the search and that I've actually been, detailing the book, et cetera, that it's all about Yellowstone and about his time in Yellowstone and the happiness that he experienced there, et cetera. And so it was one of those myths that you just accept as correct. That is not to say there isn't stuff in there about Yellowstone, and he describes Yellowstone in a very youthful way. And I'm sure that was part of it. But when you look at it from a statistical perspective, it doesn't hold up. So let's go back and look at this, the context, the manner in which he structured his argument. It's referred to as a self-fulfilling argument or a self-fulfilling prophecy. And he does two things, actually, that in a debate you'd have a problem with. One was the self-fulfilling argument. The other is the proving a negative. So it goes like this. I believe that A is true. Right? So I believe that there is a treasure in Yellowstone. I read a book that I believe substantiates my belief that A is true. So I read a book that Forrest Fenn wrote that said that I interpret to mean that it's in Yellowstone. So the substantiation of the belief is based on the belief in the book, right? So that's not evidence. This third step is, therefore, my theory that it is in Yellowstone is true, that it's in Yellowstone is a correct theory, because I believe it, right? So it's this circular, self-fulfilling argument that if you wrap it around enough times, eventually you start believing it's true because you believe it's true, right? Not because there's evidence that supports it. And then, in addition to that, he asked us to prove that he was wrong. And that's called proving a negative. It's impossible to prove a negative unless the actual event takes place. So I don't know how many of you belong to the National Forensic Society in high school and college, but for those of you that belong to the National Forensic Society and did debate, you knew there are 4 judges in that room, and if you were to use either a circular argument like this, or you would suggest that the opposing team should prove the negative, you would immediately be docked 4 of your 10 debate points by each of those 4 judges, effectively losing the debate for you. So a belief is a belief, not a fact. It's what you believe. Just because you believe it doesn't make it a fact. It only makes it a fact to you because you believe it. Generally, for most beliefs, there are no facts to support the belief. That's not an argument. I could get into a dozen different things from, religion to politics that enables you to substantiate where you are in your understanding of either religion or politics based on your beliefs, independent of whether there are facts to further substantiate those beliefs. You can't argue once someone has established a belief, you can't argue a belief with facts, right? There is no fact that you're going to be able to present to them that is going to change their belief. Their belief is part of them. It is an emotional part of them, and no matter how many facts you throw at them, they're not going to change your belief. So one has to question at that point, is it worth spending the time, and our position on the matter is it worth spending the time to argue with someone whose belief is strong enough that the facts aren't going to work? The problem with the Forrest Fenn treasure is there's not a lot of facts to support that. There's very few, to support anything, to support either the belief or the argument against the belief. And then finally, you can't disprove a negative without disproving the negative in its entirety. So when somebody like this gentleman says, I believe it's in Yellowstone, prove me wrong, there's only one way I can prove him wrong, and that is to recover the treasure. There is nothing else between his suggestion that I need to prove him wrong and me finding the treasure that will prove him wrong. And again, you could talk about religion and politics, and the same would be true. You can't prove a negative wrong until the negative event actually takes place. So like I said, if this were a high school debate, he would lose 4 points from each of the 4 judges almost immediately. So that was the first thing. The second thing was Shelley's response to all of this. And Shelley's response was, no, that's not right. And we talked about it, and, it came up that, of course, she's doing a lot of work in the area of analyzing this book. And she said it's just not supportive. And honestly, I didn't know. I mean, I've read the book several times, but it is rare that ever since the first couple of times I read it straight through, I find a chapter that I like. I've read Flywater, for example, probably 20 times. I've read My War for Me 3 or 4 times. But I couldn't argue. Not only could I not argue with him, I couldn't argue with her when she said that's not right. I had to find out. And so, not that she laid out a challenge, but she said, do the numbers.
Well, and that's because when we got to Buffalo Cowboys, I finished reading it and I looked ahead to see what the rest of the book was about. And I know that we hadn't gotten halfway yet, because halfway is My War for Me. And I looked after Buffalo Cowboys. There's
nothing after
no more
Buffalo.
Yellowstone.
Yeah, there was nothing after Buffalo Cowboys.
Yeah, and
so I did what she asked in a very pragmatic way, and basically I counted chapters and pages, and what I'm about to present to you is the results. And I'll say in advance, the results indicate to me that we're not going to go. Regardless of what the gentleman who wrote us that email believes, we are not going to go search in Yellowstone because the book doesn't support the myth. So here's what we came up with. So the question that the gentleman posed, and that has become kind of a myth, is does the thrill of the chase indicate, other than specifically saying it, if you were to analyze it from just a big global perspective, are there indications that Fenn hid the treasure?
Right. The argument being, everybody says, well, the book is mostly about Yellowstone.
Right.
So it must be there.
And what's interesting is I went doing some research, and after this, in addition, I did some subjective research in addition to this, what I would think of as an objective research. And it's generally supported by the subjective research. There is a myth that the book is about his youth in Yellowstone. Mm-hmm. So let's do it from the objective perspective. Here are the numbers. So I broke it down, and as much as I possibly could, to be fair about it. It started with chapters, and then it went to pages. And the reason it went to pages is because there are 2 chapters, 12 and 22. And by the way, these aren't numbered. I do have a spreadsheet, and if you guys want me to share the spreadsheet with you, let me know, and I'll post a link to it after in the description box after the show. I didn't think about doing that. Not that anybody is going to be interested in this as me. So there is a preface, 23 chapters, and an epilogue. So I eliminated the preface and epilogue because they were generic. They did what a preface and an epilogue were supposed to do. They really weren't about an indication of location. And right. By the way, I referred to these as locations, right?
Right, settings.
Right.
Yeah.
The setting. If it was a script, it would be, the 4 different settings. So the preface has 4 pages, and the epilogue had 4 pages, and I've discounted those. Then I noticed that there were 2 chapters, 10 and 13, that were really not about location. They were about driving, about traveling. In one case, north to Yellowstone, and in one case, south to Temple. The 2 chapters were 6 pages total, so I eliminated them from consideration in terms of the numbers.
What's the DNI?
Did not include.
Oh, okay. I was Director of National Intelligence.
You and I spend too much time together. Then there were 2 chapters that required a split count. The first was chapter 12, My Brother Being Skippy, which has 2 pages that are about Texas and 2 pages that are about Yellowstone. And then there's Flywater, which is 4 pages about Yellowstone, and I'm including the pages that are just photographs here. And then 2 pages about New Mexico. So I split that count. Then I looked at Vietnam. We're not required to search in Vietnam. It's an anomaly for a variety of reasons. Number one, it's a way for him to get Vietnam off his emotional, out of his emotional. He's releasing himself by telling that story. And every
a memory for people to know
yeah.
what happened and
Yeah.
who was involved.
Yeah, I think one of the things about people who return from Vietnam is returned from Vietnam, not professional soldiers, but people, and he was professional, but I think there was a part of you that just wanted to get it out of your system as soon as possible. And I feel like his story in My War for Me enables him to do that. But it's an anomaly in the sense that it is a big part of the book. It is 20% of the book. It's only one chapter. It's 32 pages. And so the average was very high. The average page per chapter was very high, and then it was 1 and 32. So, but we're not searching in Vietnam. There may be hints in there that one can deduce from reading the particular chapter, but we're not searching in Vietnam. So I call it an anomaly, and therefore I'm going to say I discounted it. I didn't count it in terms of our comparison. Then the second piece of this was Texas, which we discount because the treasure is north of Santa Fe. None of us are searching in Texas. None of us should be searching in Texas. It was big because it had 10 chapters and a total of 34 pages. And that's 3.4 pages per chapter on the average. And that again is 20% of the book, right? It's a pretty good sized chunk. So now you're dealing with the remaining 60% of the book. The big question you have to ask yourself is, of that 60%, how is that divided? From a Yellowstone perspective, the Yellowstone is 3 full chapters where he talks specifically about the time he spent in Yellowstone. That's 3 full chapters and 2 split chapters. So you're going to say it's 4 of a total of 23 chapters in the book, a total of 20 pages. It isn't a lot of pages. It's 5 pages per chapter average, basically. So your first reaction is, well, if I know it's 20 pages total, and at this point I'm left with 60% of the book that isn't Texas or Vietnam, you start going, this isn't, Shelly was right, the numbers don't work out. Well, if the numbers don't work out for Yellowstone, what then do they work out for? And the answer is, if you were doing this from a purely objective and statistical perspective, New Mexico, the time that he's been in New Mexico from 1972 on, so he would have been 42. From the age of 42 on, he spent in New Mexico. And you can tell that's important to him because there are 6 full chapters about New Mexico, his time in New Mexico. There are 2 split chapters about his time in New Mexico. It totals 44 pages, which is more than any other group of chapters, and each chapter is actually longer, 6.3 pages. So by any statistical measure, if you were to say what's important to Forrest Fenn, your answer should be, statistically speaking and objectively, New Mexico. Because it wins out in all of these categories. So I thought, to make it easier, and this again was Shelly's idea, if you break it down and make the comparison, Yellowstone is 3 full chapters, 2 split chapters, 20 pages, 5 pages per average. New Mexico is 6 full chapters, twice as many chapters, 44 pages, more than twice as many pages, and 6.3 pages per chapter average. So each chapter is even bigger. So there's a lot more material in that book about New Mexico, literally, than any other of the locations, any other of the settings, whether it's Texas, Vietnam, Yellowstone. As a matter of fact, out of the 4, turns out that Yellowstone, which is represented by the yellow section here, so blue is Texas, green is Vietnam, orange is other. That includes the preface, the epilogue, and driving. Yellowstone is the yellow, 13.9% of the entire book, and New Mexico is 30.6%. As you can see, the commitment to New Mexico is larger by a significant amount, but statistically significant amount, than any of the other locations. So our conclusion is that the book is not about Yellowstone, and Shelly and I will not be going to visit Yogi and Boo Boo anytime soon.
But we'll make a deal with you. We won't say that the treasure must be in New Mexico because the book is about New Mexico if you don't tell us that the book's about Yellowstone, so the treasure must be in Yellowstone.
Right.
We're not saying this proves it one way or the other. We're just saying when people say it's got to be in Yellowstone because the book is about Yellowstone, that's a false statement if you look at the statistics. So it's just kind of helping us to debunk that little myth.
And go on with what we can focus on as objective, right? Rather than a debate about whether the book tells us it's in Yellowstone. There's no debate. It's if your position in the debate is that the treasure is in Yellowstone because it says so in the book, you're starting from the wrong point. And at that point, you can say, okay, well, that's not a debate. We already know statistically and objectively what the book is mostly about, New Mexico. And and we can go on from there to finding evidence of where this darn treasure really is. And so we're going to focus on that. But
we were a little bit surprised. We thought maybe Vietnam would even win out because it takes up so much of the book. But it's all in one chapter, whereas Santa Fe is spread out. 7
chapters.
Yeah.
Well, six full chapters and 2 half chapters.
And that's not including the prologue and the epilogue, which you could say are set in Santa Fe as well.
Yeah, they were definitely, if you can look at the reading, they were written by a mature male, right, who's considering where his life is at the moment he's writing this book. So I wanted to thank this person, you know who you are, for letting us share this material. I know that it took some courage on your part, and I'm glad that you did it because it gave us the basis for this show, and we're very grateful that you trusted us with it. So thanks for that. And I hope you're not disappointed that we used it to disprove your. We
said to prove him wrong.
You said to prove you wrong. So I think we can. This is as close as we can come. Okay, we can't ever prove you wrong until one of us finds the treasure. Wrong or right until one of us finds the treasure. Okay, you ready to go to chat? We got a short show today, huh?
Short show.
A short show.
Shelly short show. Cha-ching.
Oh, this is mine, isn't it?
Yeah, you demanded it for yourself.
You're right. I did. So if you would like to contribute to our project we actually got enough money to buy more wine for our book club.
Woohoo!
Yeah. But if you'd like to contribute to our project,
get some
please.
For this week?
I haven't yet. I'm going to go tomorrow. But if you'd like to contribute to our project, please go to the bottom of your super chat of your chat screen and click on the super chat icon, and you can donate from, if you're on a Apple smartphone, 99 cents to any number that you wish. And that helps us, do the research, spend the time. I don't know how much you know about us, but we probably, between the two of us, spend anywhere from 40 to 60 hours a week producing the content that we do for our show and our blog. So it's helps us to it inspires us. Yeah, it inspires us to keep going.
It does.
Okay, so by the way, in case you guys haven't noticed, I reduced the amount of time. What do they call it?
He sped up the chat a little bit.
I sped up the chat so you guys could have a good time with it. I'm going to see how it happens, and eventually, I hope that if everybody likes it and Mitzi behaves herself, I'll bring it down to 0. Okay, so super chats, and we're ready to go to
the chat screen.
The chat screen.
So let's go to the chat screen and see who's in the room that we can say hello to.
I need to change this
and have a chat with. Oh,
no, they're not seeing that.
Don't look at that.
No, they're saying full screen.
Don't look at that yet.
Okay.
I'll show it later.
So,
Surprise.
You need to see your chat screen, right?
Yeah. There it is.
You ready? Going all the way up.
So what's happening later today? Speaking of chat and things.
So here's I was gonna let Jason surprise you with it, but I should tell you what we're doing. So over the weekend, we established a YouTube channel for my son Jason. It's called Metal Smith Shop, and the Smith is spelled S-M-Y-T-H-E.
Metal Smythe.
Metal Smythe shop. And what we're going to do this afternoon, and Jason could tell you more about it. Is Jason in the room? Did we see Jason come in? So we can come if after today's show, we're all going to go over to Jason's channel, and he's going to live stream from his workshop. And what he's going to do is he's going to make a piece of tin. He's going to show you the process that he goes through to transform a plain piece of tin into a decorative object. And you all, for those of you that have any experience with Jason, you know he's very sociable, and he's funny, and he's interesting, and we thought it would be fun for him to have his own show. So starting today and every Tuesday for the foreseeable future, he's going to start a show, and he's going to share his tin work with you. He's going to share his actual tin work. What?
Sorry.
Wow.
I just got excited.
Oh.
I did. I got excited.
So I've asked Jason to post the link. He's because it's a new YouTube channel, he doesn't have all the features that we have as an older channel. So I've asked him to post the link as we get closer to the end of today's show in the chat room, and join us over there. I'm going to set myself up as a moderator. I'm going to set Shelly up as a moderator. And we're going to go over there, and we're going to watch Jason do tin work. And
he's also going to keep up a conversation and be watching the chat room and responding to people. So it's not just watching his hands.
Right.
It's also he's going to be talking.
So we just
telling stories.
We thought it would be fun. Because he's really good at telling him stories. So
yeah.
So Jason, Michael, towards the end of today's show, I'll let you know in advance, and you can post the link to your live stream that you're going to start right after this.
Who gave us the super chat?
Paul Ammon.
Paul Ammons. Woohoo! Does he have a question?
Let me see. Thank you for your time. It is priceless.
Aw, very nice.
That was very nice.
Very encouraging as well.
Thank you. Encouraging and inspiring. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
We do.
We really do appreciate it. Thank you for that. Okay.
All right. Let's get busy. We're going to say hello to our...
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say one more thing. So this is going to be... it's going to be important because we've changed the length of the slow mode on. This stuff is going to be flying by quicker than we can watch it all, do it all. So I'm going to strongly recommend that if you actually have a question for us, make sure you use that feature where you start with the @ sign and you enter a Gypsy's Kiss, and it highlights a Gypsy's Kiss so we can see it on here.
That way we don't miss it.
Right.
And I don't want to make everybody mad because we missed their question.
Right. And it's going to go by quicker. So if I do this, no, it's not going to do it for me.
No, you can't do it for you.
So Eric Schmidt, enter a Gypsy's Kiss with the @ sign, the full, so people
Show
can
how
see
it's
what
done.
it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now we're ready? Okay. Let's say hello to our friends in the chat room. Journeyman's here. Steve from Oregon. David Dow from San Francisco Bay. Tammy Mattis is here from Illinois. Brian Eagle is here with an exclamation point and shouting. Cindy Guess is here from Indiana. Matt is hello from somewhere. He's somewhere today. JL is from Bismarck. And Holly Purd is from Olney,
Where?
Maryland?
Yeah, Olney.
Olney, okay.
Yeah, I know where that is.
High Plains Drifter is here from hot and humid Oklahoma. Brandon White from Sacramento. Deborah Jensen, hello. I'm giddy today.
Used to hang out at the bars and restaurants on the river in Sacramento. It's a nice area, beautiful area.
So is Salida.
True.
Eric Schmidt's here. 23 Monarcha. Rick Plank from Cincinnati. Saffron. Doop, doop, doop.
Scrolling down.
And Charlie Fuchs from St. Louis. I'm in rare form today, apparently.
You should have seen before the show.
There's Jason.
Where's Jason?
Right
he's
there.
in. Okay.
Hi, Jason. Bill Cross is here from Texas. Brent from Austin, Texas. South of Mopac. I don't know what Mopac is. Do you know
Where?
what Mopac is? Brian Eagle.
A high brand from south of Mopac. I don't know.
I don't know. Must be a Texas
Brian Eagle,
thing.
what's Mopac?
Must be a Texas thing. Let's see. A.J. Rainville. Today's title reminds me of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I like that show. I like the opening of it where they do the what do you call that? Auto tune the news, or what do they call it? The schmoyo, schmoyo. Yeah. Anyway, only people who know what I'm talking about know what I just said.
Yeah, I don't watch TV.
Yo schmoho, schmoyo. It's not TV. It's YouTube.
Oh.
J. Ra from Colorado. Steve Smitherman. Lori James.
Hola, amigos. Or James throwing some Spanish at it.
23 Monarca agrees that the treasure's in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky man, Mike Patterson from Kentucky here, heading to northern New Mexico this weekend for 2 weeks.
Damn, brother.
How
You're
are
spending
the
some
fires?
time.
Are we open?
Santa Fe is open. Carson is not. So
Pecos is open? No.
yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Santa Fe opened up on Monday.
Oh.
Santa Fe National Forest opened up. Make sure, who was that?
That was Kentucky man.
Mike Peterson. Make sure you
Patterson.
check Patterson,
Mm-hmm.
not Peterson.
Yes.
Okay. Mike, make sure you check nmfireinfo.com to get the status on the fires. As of this morning, Santa Fe National Forest was open, as of Monday, actually, and Carson was still closed. Carson National Forest was still closed.
And 23 Monarca says, opinions are opinions and reality is just that. And we do try to let you know when we're stating an opinion. Our opinion is that the treasure is in New Mexico. And then we give you the facts, which is a separate thing.
Right.
Like how many pages in the book are about New Mexico is a separate thing from our belief that the treasure is in New Mexico.
Right.
We don't think they substantiate. We just think that's two separate things.
Nor would we use it to make the argument. You will
Yeah.
never hear me say that the treasure is in New Mexico because most of the book is about New Mexico. That's
Yeah.
not a good argument. Scrolling down, you're at Paul.
James Cruz is here. Anon. Sean Martinez. Mary Green. Paul.
I think Paul is also from the UK. Paul, are you from the UK? Okay, you're at...
You think everybody's from the
I do.
Stone Castle.
Don't even touch that one.
Oh, okay, no touching. Eric Schmidt. However, the following makes the assumption that what he mentions the most in Thrill of the Chase somehow relates to where the treasure is located. I would say it's more what he doesn't mention. Okay. Cherry. Hello, everyone. Do you know what pictures are on the treasure chest? Especially the lid and what the latch is? Is it an animal?
No, it's actually a... and I'm sure Eric Schmidt knows exactly where. It's actually an image, and it's called something of the Castle of Love, the attack of the Castle of Love, or the siege of the Castle of Love. And it's all has a romantic theme, and it has names. And if you do a Google search on I think it's attack. Eric Schmidt, maybe you can remind us. Something about the Castle of Love. It's a story. It has a story in it about these people who were actually historically related to each other and depicted in this action scene where they are attacking the Castle of Love with things like roses and kisses, etc., etc. It's actually a very romantic...
Is it based on the War of the Roses or just another story?
No, it's just a completely different story. There's actually a book that you can... I don't have the link, but you can actually Google this short book that describes the image that's on this chest. And the impression that you get is that, and perhaps because it was cast, this is not the only chest of its type. That meaning it's not the only chest that was cast with this imagery. There are more of them, or there were more cast, because it was a very commonly used image.
Interesting. And David Dow says, for me, it's the Philadelphia incident that says Yellowstone area. Paul Ammons, and the end of all our exploring we will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time.
Is that E.E. Cummings?
And that's a quote that Fenn used as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sean Martinez, I agree, it's not in Yellowstone. In my opinion, it's in New Mexico. So much focus is on Yellowstone. However, he stated that people were overthinking it.
We are, aren't we? You can tell we have a YouTube channel where we are constantly overthinking this.
Yeah. Jimmy Fast is here.
Young Gun finally made a live feed.
23 Monarchus says, most searchers give up on the poem and start listening to themselves instead. Or the forums, or they find something that agrees with what they feel, and then they build on that.
Yeah, wouldn't you like it if he just hid it in Temple, Texas, Brian Eagle?
Youngin is here. Hooray. Glad you
Jimmy
made
Fast in the house.
Glad you made it. Chad Maxwell. What if this entire treasure hunt is just to sell books? Well, that'd be kind of silly because he gave all the profits away.
Yeah, it's just it's not profitable for him. He doesn't. If it was to sell books, then he would keep the profits. He doesn't keep the profits.
And from what I understand, the collected works would be just as happy without it.
Yeah, exactly. So the profits from The Thrill of the Chase go to collected works, except for a 10% portion that go to a cancer fund. The profits from The Thrill of the Chase go to
The Thrill of the Chase, you just said.
I'm sorry. The profits from Too Far to Walk go to his grandchildren, a trust fund for his grandchildren, and the profits from Once Upon a While go to his publisher and his artist and his editor. So he doesn't, if his strategy was to sell books, it doesn't make sense because he doesn't.
Yeah, and he never did it with any of his other books.
Yeah.
Either he didn't put any kind of big marketing ploy into any of his books that he's written, and he put a lot more work into the San Lazaro book.
10 years into San Lazaro, 12 years into
If he was going to do a big marketing ploy on some book of his,
it wouldn't have been any of these.
One of those that he worked really hard on for years, like the San Lazaro book. TP Smoke, one of those. Unknown Searcher. It's in an unknown place.
Yeah.
Well, it's unknown to all of us, that's for sure.
Okay, scrolling up from Chad Maxwell. Trying to do this without... Oh, it just did it to me again.
Sorry, we're just kind of staring at the screen and you're like looking at us
like,
hello, what are you doing?
Talk to them while I'm finding where we went.
They're stuck.
Okay,
refresh.
Where we go? It just popped up again.
Davio's here.
Okay, right there. At AJ Rainville.
Okay. PowerPoint flashbacks intensifies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I am a big fan
because
of PowerPoint.
Of the pie chart?
Although these are not, I don't use PowerPoint anymore. I use Google Drive, the spreadsheet, not the presentation on Google Slides. Yeah, Google Slides, right.
Yeah, Google Slides. Youngin says, ever thought about warm waters as a rough point in his life, such as Mama saying you're in hot water now?
Good. Never heard of that one. That's a new one. Well,
it's an idea, but hot water and warm water are actually two different things, so maybe not. What would the statistics show on locations in the book and not page numbers?
I don't know what that means. I thought we just...
Do you mean the name of the location, like city names, place names, and just pulling out the place names, and how many times does he mention a place?
Oh, you mean... well, Yellowstone would win because when he talks about Yellowstone, he talks about Yellowstone. Right? When he's writing in New Mexico, he never says, I'm in New Mexico. So I think... I remember doing that once because I do have the...
but then there's a lot of cities he names in Vietnam as well.
Right. Yeah, Thuy Hoa would show up. No, I'm not going to say that.
Oh, treasures in Vietnam.
Bin Thuy.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, how much would you pay for the absolute complete stall from the thrill of the chase for warm water salt? That would end the dispute. There, and again, it's purely hypothetical. I wouldn't pay for a solution because it's purely hypothetical. I wouldn't pay for a solution any more than I would pay for a book that says it has a solution because it's purely hypothetical. The only proof of that you have the correct solution is to show up with a treasure one day.
Mm-hmm. And besides, people send them to us for free all the time, even though we ask them not to.
Yeah. Please don't send us your solutions. It compromises. We get at least one and sometimes as many as 3 a day. Let's see.
Belva Jenkins is here from Chattanooga. Captain Ahab seeks. That's the question you just read.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Holly Purd, will you still be doing hints and clues session?
Well, we do the hints and clues in our book club. So whatever we find in the form of, there are no, we don't try to presume that what we state in the way of clues is correct. Everybody has their own interpretation. We know what ours is and how we work with it. The hints come, we think, from reading a book, and we have pulled hints for our own solution out of the book, and we share those when they show up. There aren't a lot of them. But when they show up, we say so in book club.
Yeah, but it's our opinion, and it differs from pretty much everybody else. So
right.
Everybody has their own ideas, but we share what we know.
Libby, Montana.
Sean Martinez says, if you've been wise and thought of everything logically like Toby has, it's in most probably in New Mexico, as this is the most reasonable conclusion, in my opinion. Well, I agree.
Now we have 3 opinions, mine, his, and yours.
And put them all together and you can buy
a cup of coffee,
a breath of air.
50 cents. Okay, so we just raised it. That's Jason's link to the live stream at his Metal Smith Shops that we're going to have right after this.
Jamie Rodriguez, if there was no internet and only the book and poem, would you still assume New Mexico?
As a matter of fact, we've actually done that video. Yeah. If you look for the video on our channel called Forrest Fenn Died in December of 2010, that's exactly the conclusion we come to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what he tells everybody, too. Read the book, read the poem. That's the best way to find the treasure.
Yeah. We should probably do an update on that.
Well, I mean, that's why we're doing the book club to begin with. That's why we started it, because that's what he said to do. It's what he tells everybody. If he has the chance to talk to you and you're new to the search, he will tell you, read the book, read the poem, study the poem, read the book again slowly, and look for hints. He never tells you, go watch the Today Show, or go watch this, or go listen to that. He only tells you about the book. Craig Whittles is here. Keep up the good work, he says. Oh, Sean Martinez is in Clovis, New Mexico.
Oh.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Are we aware of the word that is key? Nope.
We are not. We've tried. We have, again, opinions on the matter, but we've never been able to identify it any more than anyone else has.
We have our ideas, but I don't think even our ideas have led us any closer to the treasure on that, looking for the key word. I think the most important thing is the context of the poem, because if you look at it as a piece of literature that has been pulled out of something and is not really complete on its own because you took it out of context, then you have to know the context in order to figure out what it's talking about.
I'm sorry. I was going to say Craig Whittles did it. So when he puts the @ a Gypsy's Kiss, it highlights it.
Right.
Davio did it as well.
Yeah.
So that's a good way. If you do the full thing, @ a Gypsy's Kiss, then it highlights it, and we can make sure that we answer your question.
Yeah.
So, let me answer Dan K. To be fair, it's not easy to compare the 120,000 square miles of New Mexico with the 3,400 square miles in Yellowstone. True, Sean, but if you reduce it to the actual potential search area in New Mexico, it turns out to be almost the same size. Realistically speaking, if you eliminate if you use Fenn's words to eliminate all the areas it couldn't be in New Mexico, then you're reduced to an area that is near the size of Yellowstone. We did that calculation.
Sledneck says, do you think maybe the amount of time he spent in New Mexico affects your results? Yes.
Yeah.
He chose to live in New Mexico. He could have lived anywhere in the world he wanted to. He could have, once he sold his gallery and gotten well in the 90s, he could have moved. He could have moved to Yellowstone. He had family there. So he could have moved anywhere he wanted to. He had the money, and it might have even been easier on his health to have moved back to a lower elevation so that he could breathe easier. But he didn't choose to do that. He stayed in Santa Fe.
He has spent more than half his life in New Mexico. And he could afford, in that part of his life, you've got these two interesting things. If you look at his life in Temple and Yellowstone, and this is not a criticism, and it's not meant to be, he was poor and unrecognized, right? The time that he spent in New Mexico from 1972, he's built wealth, and he is a very recognizable figure, not only in New Mexico, but literally in the art world throughout the world, art and collectors world throughout the world. So given a choice, where would you be? Would you rather be my Uncle Mundi was Uncle Edmundo, we called him Uncle Mundi. He had an advertising agency, and he used to, when we'd end up in conversations, and he'd always say, I'd rather be rich than poor, right? And then he'd explain why that comes with a bunch of other responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera. Well, if you look at Fenn's life, if you look at the period after 1972, that was the most rewarding period of his life. He built wealth. He more than provided for his family, something that he had always wanted to do. He became recognizable in a number of fields, including the collection of archaeologically important artifacts, and as an author. So that period of his life from 1972 to the present, and then of course he hid a treasure worth at least several $100,000, maybe more than that. But if I looked at my life in that context, the period from 1972 on would be the period that I'd say to myself, that was my life. It was his youth was interrupted by his time spent in the service, and the impression that you get from the time he spent in the service was that he wanted to, appreciate that, as we all do.
One, it was a job, and two, he was following Skippy's lead because Skippy was very interested in aviation, so he chose the Air Force.
Right.
And when it was offered to him to become a pilot, because that was Skippy's dream.
Right.
He didn't get to follow his own dream, which was selling and art, which you can tell by the way he made marbles and sold them in school, and he felt really good about himself for the first time, which he talks about in the book. Once that happened, he had a dream to make things and to sell things and to feel really good about himself, which is what he did when he had the gallery.
Yeah. So
this is what I'm getting from the book.
Scrolling down to Craig Whittles and A Gypsy's Kiss. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Craig. We will.
Bill Kaiser's here, Kentucky Man.
Hey, Bill.
Oh, Kentucky Man is a blacksmith.
Oh, nice.
Interesting. Minotaur Moreno, any thoughts on how a lot of the illustrations loosely follow Norman Rockwell paintings?
We've seen the argument made, and maybe even the criticism made, that they did follow Norman Rockwell paintings, but that sounds to me like a choice of the artist. And again, we didn't spend a lot of time on it because we couldn't make the linkage between Norman Rockwell pencil reproductions, if you will, and how I get closer to the treasure.
Yeah. And I have to think that Norman Rockwell is an easy pick. You know, everybody knows Norman Rockwell work. But Fenn, having had his own gallery and studied all these different artists and their styles, and he knows them. He knows all the Western artists really well. He knows Russian artists. He knows the work that they do. So he could have picked somebody really obscure that we never heard of and then based it on that, for all I know. So I don't think that we can just assume that it's Norman Rockwell-esque, because we don't know all of the art that Forrest is familiar with and that he enjoys.
You know, and it could have been as simple as a single statement to the artist, when the artist said, "What are you looking for?" as he was commissioned to produce the images for this work. The instructions could have been, "I'd like a couple of sketches for each chapter, and I'd like them to be loose pencil sketches because that's what it is, and kind of after Norman Rockwell." You know, he could have said something like that. And there's nothing wrong. You're not infringing on copyright when you take and you do a pencil sketch after Norman Rockwell, even if you were to say it. Oh, Sean says that Carson just opened this morning. Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Open this morning. That's nice. But Cimarron is closed for the foreseeable future. And Carson National Forest is open. Stage 2 restrictions. And Youngin is from Arkansas, and he's headed to Fort Worth, Texas.
He's a trucker? Oh, right. Welcome aboard.
Very nice. I don't think I said hi to Fossilman123 yet. So hi.
So Carson just opened, but they've got Cimarron. The Cimarron area is still closed. Okay. Yeah, they've got to start repairing the damage done from that fire.
You know, you can say that it's the treasure is hidden and you have to figure it out by what he's not saying. How do you figure out what somebody's not saying? That's like trying to prove a negative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, it's the proven negative. You can't do it.
I imagine he must be thinking this. Well, you don't know what he's thinking. Yeah. Unless he says it out loud and it's recorded. We don't know. What is did you say that? What is the shortest distance between 2 points?
A straight line.
Yeah.
Basic geometry.
Well, that's obvious. I don't know why you asked the question.
Oh. There it is, Eric Schmidt. The Siege of the Castle of Love. Who asked that question earlier? Was that Holly?
Cherry?
Cherry. So either Holly or Cherry who asked that question about the imagery that's on the chest. Eric just answered. It's called The Siege of the Castle of Love. And if you Google
and then he
it...
added the allegorical to it.
Okay.
There.
The allegorical Siege of the Castle of Love. And if you search that, eventually you end up at a scanned book that describes the scene in its entirety.
Interesting.
Okay, going down to allegorical siege. If I get that. Oh, dang nabbit, there it is. I don't know why it bounces on that.
T.S. Eliot.
T.S. Eliot. Yeah, thank you.
So.
That was we end up where we started. Thank you, Lori.
Ben Downing. Good afternoon. Mitzi Moore is here. Mitzi.
Nice to see you. You came up earlier in the conversation in a nice way.
Is a hole. What? Shortest distance
hole.
Between 2 points is a hole?
Okay. Okay, Minorca, okay. The mathematicians wouldn't agree with you. The specialists in geometry wouldn't agree with you.
Okay, I'm not sure why Paul Ammons wrote 821, 2021 equals 7.
Don't know.
Numerology, I guess. Whew. That's what happens when you live so close to the central. Jay, Minnesota is here but late, and that's okay. You're still here. Here's a song.
So, Brian Eagle, what is that link to that you retracted?
A song.
Oh.
About Mopac.
Oh.
Whatever that. He's trying to tell us what Mopac's about by giving us a song. Okay, so High Plains Drifter. To quote Fenn on page 131 of The Thrill of the Chase, it's in the mountains somewhere north of Santa Fe. Why would one think it is Wyoming, Montana, or Colorado? Not me.
You know what?
Not me either.
High Plains Drifter, we've done a video on that, and there is a blog post that tells a story that uses exactly the same logic. So, but we don't try to convince everybody of that. That's our
What was
opinion.
that?
That was, I don't know. It was excited about the fire. I don't know.
That okay. I know what you did.
Uh-huh.
Chad Maxwell, thanks for sharing about the book sales. You're welcome. Thanks for your questions. John Bobbitt's here. Hi, John.
John Bobbitt.
And he says, I believe someone knows where the treasure chest is, but hasn't gotten it yet because of what Forrest Fenn said. Found by the summer. Wavering, disappointed it's not found. Yeah, maybe.
Well, as everybody in the forums is wont to say, I hope they do it soon so we can get on to our next YouTube channel.
And we've got a bunch in line, right? We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you'll come back and visit us for an entirely different reason than the treasure. Well, Mitzi Moore, your main account was banned because you were misbehaving.
But this Mitzi is much nicer.
This Mitzi is...
It's like a bipolar thing.
Yeah, this Mitzi is behaving. Okay, scrolling down to Ben Downing. Wow, every time I think we're done.
More stuff.
Okay.
I'm late to the stream, so maybe you already answered this, but if you don't think the treasure is in Yellowstone, do you think any of the clues could be in Yellowstone?
Okay, Ben, I'm going to express our opinion. It's in entirety right now. This is
the whole thing?
This is an opinion. There is nothing to do with this treasure in or around Yellowstone. That's our opinion.
Yeah.
And the only way you can prove me wrong is to go find the treasure in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And that's not a challenge. I'm not challenging you. I'm just saying. High Plains Drifter. Oh, then Fenn made it to Rocky Mountains. The map. Yeah, but Mary Green. That's into that post Fenn died in 2000. You know, you've got to look at it from the perspective of where was Fenn before he decided to turn this into a marketing thing to sell books that were going to fund his grandchildren's college educations. So you've got to ignore everything that happened after January of 2013. That's our opinion. I need to start saying that now.
That's our opinion.
That's our opinion.
IMO. Have you given the hint for your searcher coin? No, not till we're done with the chat.
Who asked that?
Davio.
Davio searcher coin. So, this one's going to be tough. Going to start making. We're down to the last three, so these are going to get tougher.
You want to take this Renee Starve question?
A Slarv.
Slarv? Sorry. I didn't know it was a T.
From California, I think. Question. Wouldn't the interview with Mr. Fenn rule out those who think one clue, one sentence on YouTube, Forrest Fenn? Here we go with our opinion. Our opinion on the matter is that when Fenn said the first clue is begin at where warm waters halt, we accept that. That's fair. But if we're going to go with our rule not to believe anything after January of 2013, you have to go back to the book. You have to go back to the book, back to the poem, read the poem, and look at the second stanza where it says, begin it where warm waters halt. To me, I don't see how that makes an argument. Yeah. Plus, again, we're not going to, since we don't have the treasure, I can't tell you anybody else is wrong. I can only tell you what we think, and hopefully, and hope that one day we find the treasure. But the thing about this treasure hunt, and I think what makes it so interesting, is that there are a diversity of opinions on the matter, from everything from what actually are the 9 clues to where the treasure is. I think that's what makes it so darned interesting. we have our opinions on the matter, and I did consider the 9 sentences once as a possibility, but it just doesn't. It's it's too much effort. You end up going in a lot of places that you can't actually substantiate. The nice thing about beginning, and I've said this before, the nice thing about starting the starting location is begin at where warm waters halt, is because I can identify that with geographic precision. I know exactly where that is. Now, by my definition of warm water salt, if it's not the same as Fenn's, but I think you have to know where to start, and that requires some sort of geographic precision. I can do that with begin at where warm water salt.
And he did say it, and he never tried to retract it. Something he did try to retract was the pinon trees. I would smell pinon or see pinon if I was standing where the treasure was. He retracted that. He said, I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong. If he had felt that it was wrong to say, the first clue is beginning where warm waters halt,
He never
then he would have retracted it. He never did. He never told anybody don't listen to that or anything else. He said it, he stated it, and he stood by it. Well, Jay, Minnesota, Peggy was attributed with the idea of going to Santa Fe, but we don't know what happened before that. It could have been something that he had always wanted to do, and she finally agreed to it. Imagine they both had family in Texas, and so he didn't want to pull her away from her family, but when she agreed, okay, let's go to Santa Fe, then he was excited that she wanted to do that. Now, we don't know that that's the truth. That's just my opinion, my perception of what may have happened.
You can't go home again.
To your knowledge, from Minotaur, where has Fenn owned land in the search area throughout his life?
I have no knowledge of that.
Well, we know he has a house in Santa Fe.
He has property in Santa Fe. He had a house.
But that's
he has a
actually
house
not in the
Santa
search
Fe,
area because it's
and
supposed to
and
be
he had
north
a
of
gallery. Yeah, I have no knowledge of land that
there. We heard about Colorado once, didn't we?
he rented it. He leased a condo for one of his daughters going to school up there.
And he had relatives and family who owned land in the Yellowstone area.
The ranch, he had the Dude Hotel.
Dude
They probably owned that property, and he was partial owner in that. So, nothing more than he's told us about. I mean, I haven't done the research. Again, it's one of those things that I can't make the connection between land ownership and where he hid the treasure, because I don't believe he'd hide it on private property, even if it was his own.
Let's see, Paul Ammons. Why worry about what state when the poem will lead you to the end of the rainbow? A state is just a line on a map. I think it's just a labeling thing that we like to do so that we have an idea of what area people are looking at.
Yeah, the simple fact of the matter is that the making an argument for any one of the states is, if you look at the poem, irrelevant. Because it is not dependent upon the state. We, like Shelly said, we use it as a mechanism to indicate where we have interest in. But the simple fact of the matter is, if you're following the poem, it doesn't make any difference what state it's in. I agree with that. Have you noticed there are 2 photos of a dog and 1 drawing? I have not noticed that, Davio, so I can't give you my thoughts on the matter. I'm sorry.
Brian says, I think he said to emulate Rockwell because his youth felt like he was living in a Rockwell painting.
Oh, how nice.
Okay,
That's
well,
a good
I
way to
have
put it.
not heard that quote
Brian
before.
Eagle. Oh, it just jumps up. I don't know what it is. Okay, here we go. There we are.
Where?
At the top.
Oh. Willie Gillis is Norman Rockwell. Alrighty. Youngin says, I'm from Kentucky. I'm in Arkansas and headed to Texas. Your video your videos keep my mind occupied while driving 750 miles every day. Thanks. Well, thank
Young
you.
Un, we would prefer that your mind was...
He's listening. He didn't say he was watching the show.
Okay.
I mean, all we're doing is sitting here, so what would be to look at anyway? I know a lot of people do listen to YouTube because it's easy to pull up on your phone, and you can listen to it. You can also listen to podcasts, and that's one of the reasons we're putting our stuff out on podcasts.
She just took a shot at her partner, by the way, because that's my responsibility at this point, and I haven't done it. We're going to put up...
Working on it.
We're working on
process.
We're going to put up all the audio versions of our YouTube videos on Podbean, so that people who want to download them and listen to them while they're working out or whatever can listen to them.
We're about halfway or 3/4 of the way there, right?
I would say, yeah, 3/4 of the way.
3/4.
Yeah, we
So
could announce
soon.
it.
We'll have a podcast. Rain, rain, rain in northern New Mexico for the next 2 weeks. Well, we hope so. That would be awesome. Shannon's here.
Oh, hey, Shannon. How are you doing? It's good to see you back in the mix here.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. Rationalist says it's not in New Mexico for sure. There is no certainty.
Minotaur wants to know from me, psychologically speaking, what causes so many people to think Forrest is personally talking to them when he posts or speaks in articles? I think it's just a high measure of hope. When you buy a lottery ticket, you have a high hope that you're going to win. And, you know, when you participate in anything that's a competition or a contest, you have a high hope that you're going to win until you're proven otherwise.
Right.
So I think that's why.
It's in the nature of human beings to believe that based on the hope. Oh, so Odious Soul is texting while driving. Let's hope she's not traveling between Arkansas and Texas and runs into Young'un.
We
Guys,
see
be
Virgil
safe
Kane.
out there.
Virgil Kane is here. The shortest distance between
Rabbit
2
hole.
points has to be a rabbit hole. I don't think so. I think that's the longest distance. Probably the shortest distance would be a wormhole.
Oh, good. So John Bobbitt, he's healing.
Good.
Amazingly how fast I'm healing. The doctors are amazed. So well, congratulations. We're happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Are you at the VA hospital in Las Vegas? I understand they have a very nice VA hospital. So if I ever move up there, I'm going to use that one.
Why would you move there?
Las Vegas?
Yeah, if you like heat,
Party.
stay here.
All that party.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think so.
Here we go. Going up to Rick Plank.
We have all these casinos around here. You don't need to move.
Cincinnati. Yeah, I don't. I'm happy with my casinos here.
All right. After you find the treasure, you'll have plenty of items for your giveaways on your new channel.
Good one, Rick. I like that idea.
He wants us to give away things from the treasure.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
No. No, the only way you're going to get the treasure if we find it is you're going to go to an auction at Sotheby's in New York. Okay, let's see.
Angelo is going to accept your challenge and search Yellowstone National Park.
You know what, Angelo? There's a lot of people who ignore me completely and go to Yellowstone National Park, including a couple of our good friends like Cynthia Meacham.
Right.
There is nothing I can say that's going to convince Cynthia Meacham that it isn't in Yellowstone. And as a matter of fact, every time she goes up there, she comes back even more convinced than when she left. So that's kind of neat. What happened to Jason? Jason, are you still in the room?
Bo Walker from Salem, Utah. I didn't know there was a Salem in Utah.
I
Now
didn't
do.
either.
Fenn Treasure. Did Mr. Fenn say he would be disappointed if it was found or if it wasn't found?
I think he said it was in the Margie Goldsmith article. Mm-hmm. I think he said,
or was it the?
I'm going to paraphrase it. Wasn't
it the Daily Mail one? The Sheila one? Well, okay. It was
I don't
in one
remember.
that just came out in the last couple of weeks.
And
it
it
either
was
Sheila
disappointment.
Flynn or
She asked him,
Margie
"Would you be
Goldsmith.
disappointed?" It was Margie Goldsmith.
Was it?
Yeah, would you be
Okay.
disappointed it was found? And I think he responded in the affirmative.
A
But
little
I
bit.
can't quote it. Huh?
Yeah. He said he would be a little
Yeah,
bit.
it would be a little bit disappointed. So, but I can't quote it specifically. I think it was in the most recent Margie Goldsmith article, and you can find a reference to it on our blog.
Right.
Actually, you can find I did a YouTube video last week on it.
That's true.
With
On
all
Wednesday, the 4th.
with all the information. Margie has a long history with Fenn, and we interviewed her back in 2013, I think.
Edward Owen says, "Hi from Boise. Canceled an appointment, rushed through traffic to be here to win the coin."
Now I'm going to feel
That's
guilty if you
dedication.
don't. Yeah.
Oh, Eric says he would be disappointed if it was found this
Found
summer.
this summer. Yeah.
Youngin. Only way for him to know when found is to have small jar or box hidden at end of clues with a land trust deed giving you the title to the gold. Then Forrest lawyers will tell land with the chest has been found.
So here's my problem with those kinds of theories is Forrest had to accept the fact, had to consider the possibility that it was going to be found after his death. And the game effectively would change after that, no matter what he put in the chest. In addition to that, there is the possibility that the finder of the chest, I don't recommend this should happen, but there is a possibility that the finder of the chest may decide not to inform anyone. And it's his by default, or hers by default. You don't have to go through all of that. Forrest thought of everything. Take the chest and go in peace. Take the chest and go in peace to me doesn't mean take the chest and go visit a property lawyer. Attorney.
Yeah.
No offense, Joel Lewicki.
It just sounds like he, every time he talks about it, he says, I want that person to find it, to open it, to laugh out loud, to be, full of joy when they find it. Hike the Americas. I think everyone is stumped on the blaze. It's not hard. You have to be wise to figure it out. We have.
Oh, great.
Well, I imagine if you've hiked the Americas, then you've probably seen it.
Honestly, we're no further than home of Brown, so you're way ahead of us. Edward Owen, I have 2 of Jason's 10 pieces of art. They are awesome. Looking forward to watching him make some of his art.
Right.
Thank you, Edward.
And that's going to be right after the show?
Right after the show.
Okay,
Yeah. We're going to go straight over there to
does he have anything he has to get to? Do we need to shorten this up?
No, we just agreed that it would be,
He
as soon as we finished, he was going
to.
Oh, he has to at 3:40, but that's like 3:30.
Okay.
You know what? That's right. He does have to.
Okay. So should we
Let's start wrapping it up.
wrap this up? See if anybody else has any.
Look at Dobby. Just wanted to say thank you for the great interview, Fenn, at the bookstore. Great job. He's seen it 247 times. I wondered why the
Wow.
numbers on that video had been going up, Davio. Ashley Bergstrom, we haven't seen her in a while. She's one of our Facebook friends.
Oh.
Haven't seen her. Hi, Ashley. Colorado to do map maker from Colorado to do benchmark maps is a well-known, highly regarded map maker. That's what they do for a living. The fact that they're in Colorado, I don't think is meaningful. He's a smart enough guy to use whatever resources that are going to produce the best result. It doesn't get much better than benchmark.
High Plains Drifter wants to know if we're still using the fishing regs in our solution.
We are. Is that it?
I think so.
Yes, High Plains Drifter. It still fits with our solution. Let's see. One of your commenters have solved a poem we saw that, Ron. He made the mistake of forcing the issue, and so it's a deleted comment, and it's one of those guys that says, I've solved the poem, don't waste your time, and then doesn't have a treasure prove it. When you've solved the poem, show me the treasure. Okay, I think that's it. Toby, do you think there are 3 to 4 clues in the sentence, as Mr. Fenn says in the interview begin at where warm waters halt. Yes, I believe there are 3 clues in the second stanza, Renee. That's our opinion. Well, a banco, Davio, a banco is very specifically associated with the way that you describe it is, you could call it a bench, but in New Mexico architecture, in Adobe style architecture, a banco is an Adobe extension near the fireplace so that you can sit near the fire. You know, it starts with Adobe and it's plastered over. But yeah, you could use
kind of sort of part of the wall, a built-in bench.
Yeah,
thing.
it's a built-in. That's right. That's a good description. It's a built-in bench. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, we are closing up the chat.
And don't forget to find that link to Jason's channel.
Yeah, Jason,
It's
if
in
you're
the chat.
still in the room, I kind of missed him. He's not in the room anymore.
He may be getting ready for his own show.
Jason, if you're still in the room, Eric Schmidt, would you do me a favor and go to the top and pull that link that Jason posted about where his live stream is going to be after we finish here and repost it at the bottom of the chat, please? Okay, we're closing up the chat window. And why don't you talk about that?
Oh, tomorrow night, our panel will feature Michael Houle. You may see him in the chat room as M-E-H, Meh. Michael is currently living in Tokyo.
He lives in Tokyo, his wife lives in Singapore, and they travel all over the world.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So they're world travelers. He was recently, and he may still be, in France. So Michael's going to be on the show, and we're going to talk about how far is too far to travel to search for the treasure.
Yeah.
So it should be really interesting. And anybody here in the room now who is from far away and considering searching for the treasure or has already searched, I hope that you'll be there tomorrow to join in that conversation. Then on Thursday, we'll have our book club, Chapter 17, Part 4, My War for Me. And we'll be talking about, so Fenn has come out of the aircraft. He ejected. He's coming down in his parachute, and we're gonna follow him down to the jungle floor and see what happens there.
Down through the trip canopy.
Yeah.
Brian Eagle, very quickly, I did get your voicemail. Thank you.
And then Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, you can watch my show, The Softer Side. Toby and I will be talking about Everybody Loves a Hero. And don't we have a new It's All About You on Friday?
Okay, I don't even want to talk about it at this point. I'm sorry.
Okay, we may have one this Friday the 13th. We'll see. It is Friday the 13th. So we'll have a video for you one way or another, even
Apparently
if we have to make something up.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here today. We have any more slides?
Yes, we do have one more slide, or 2 more, actually.
Okay. So we're ready for the giveaway. And
the giveaway
the
being
rules.
a Fenn coin. Here are the rules. The answer must be posted in the comments box below this video. It's not going to count if you post it here. And as a matter of fact, if you share it with everybody, they will know the answer. I won't accept an email. It's got to be in the comment box below. New winners only. If you have won before, you don't qualify for this prize. 6-hour time limit from the time this show ends, and you must be a subscriber to win. And I will ask you to prove that you're a subscriber. Okay, you ready?
Okay, so make sure you subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. And we're ready for our contest.
Here's the
so
clue.
Get out
3,
your papers
2,
and pencils.
1, and...
Okay, fun questions. Make sure you post in the comment box below. This video will take a little while to process for YouTube, and then when the comments opens up, make sure you're the first to post. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Oh, so join us. We're going to head straight over to Jason's live stream. and we'll be there to watch him do some tin work. This is the first of these. I think we're going to keep it up. Now, I know also that he's busy with getting ready for Spanish Market. Spanish Market is an event that takes place every year, the last weekend of July. Both Jason and my daughter Sean will be there. They're in separate booths, but the booths are adjoining one another. So if you know the southwest corner.
It's a huge event in Santa Fe. It fills up the whole plaza area and then some.
Right. And they are always in the southwest corner of the plaza where the Ore House used to be. They have a different name for the Ore House. It is, but if you know where the old Woolworths, if you know where to go to get a Frito pie, that's the corner they're in, which is how I remember them.
Well, he's in the corner of the plaza, so there's only 4 chances to get it.
But they earn a significant amount of the revenue in the year at the Spanish Market, which is sponsored by the Spanish Colonial Art Society and hosted by the city of Santa Fe. So if you happen to find yourself in Santa Fe in the last weekend of July, make sure you go to Spanish Market and make sure you go by and visit Jason and Sean. I'll be there. I usually go to take pictures so that they have them for promotional materials the rest of the year. So we may bump into you. Okay? So that's where we're headed. We're headed over to Jason's program to watch him do some tin work as soon as we're done here. Okay?
All right. Thank you for being here, for all your questions and comments. And we appreciate you being subscribers and joining us to talk about the Fenn treasure. For a Gypsy's Kiss, the vlog, I'm Shelly Corney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at our panel with our guest, Michael Houle. You guys take care.